Good morning. Can you hear?
Good afternoon.
Fan here?
A little, but I
Yes?
can
Good
adjust.
afternoon.
All right, everybody. All right, I said good morning, and somebody already, you get into something for 10 seconds and you're already corrected. I'm not sure that bodes well. But good afternoon. Delighted to be with you. My name is Doug Price, and I'm co-chairman of the Ohio Semi-Quincentennial Commission, which for very good reasons we're calling America 250 Ohio. I see enough gray hairs in the crowd that I know some of you, as I do, remember 1976 and the great bicentennial that swept the country, and certainly right here in Ohio too, where there was so much to celebrate that 200th anniversary of the United States of America, the 200th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Well, for those of us who remember some of that, yes, it's 50 years later. For the youngsters who are going to play a part in the role in the band, and some of you who weren't around in 1976, we recall that it was a year of celebration and commemoration of some very many positive things that we celebrated that brought Americans together 250 years ago, and continue to bring Americans together. Celebration of faith and family, of the history that created the greatest democracy in the history of the world. So we'll be celebrating lots of things through the coming 18 months, and you're all invited to participate in so many of the things that we're doing, including this wonderful event today. I'm going to wear, because so much of what we hope to do is not only historical but fun, I'm going to put on my tri-corner hat reminiscent of the Revolution. Now, by the time Johnny Appleseed, John Chapman, was traversing these hills and valleys, this old-fashioned hat would have been going out of style. But I hope you'll agree with me that the tri-corner hat and the recollection of those days is going to be in style for the next year and a half. The beautiful fall day we have here today, it kind of reminds us of falling leaves and trees that are turning and old stories and legends from our youth and what we learned in school and history, and we're learning something about that today. One of the great legends, not only of this area of Ohio, of all of Ohio, the Midwest, but the whole country. Every school child and all of us know about the history of Johnny Appleseed. Some of it real, some of it legend, all of it very, very interesting, and we'll learn more about that as today's program proceeds. I am looking for my run of show here. That's what I'm doing. We're delighted this morning to be joined by some great fourth graders from the Loudonville-Perrysville school, right? I'm getting some nods. You've all got flags. Would you all come up with your superintendent, who's with us too, Superintendent Allerding? Would you please bring the kids up, and then we'll face the crowd, and then we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll lead you off when you get into place. Come on up, you guys.
Doug, and the FFA guy.
Oh, and the FFA. Okay. Come on, guys. Stand behind. You're all taller. I forgot about you, but you look great. Okay. You lead us off, sir. What's your name?
Hunter.
Homer? Hutter. All right, Hutter. Start us in the pledge, if you will, please.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. How about that, guys? Thank you, guys. Thank you, FFA. Thank you, fourth graders. By the way, we're so pleased that fourth graders in Ohio, by virtue of one of the programs of the Ohio Semi-Quincentennial Commission, America 250 Ohio, participating entities all across the state, museums and historic houses, etc., fourth graders, as part of their curriculum, are able to visit for free, and we're seeking sponsors. We think we're lined up that the fourth graders can come with their families next year to these historic sites. I'd be remiss if we didn't thank, right up here at the front, the wonderful preservationists of history whose barn this is, and who invited us here today to share with you and with all of Ohio this gorgeous, beautiful barn mural. I'd like to ask Rich and Tammy Kline, our hosts, to come forward. I'm not sure these beautiful, modest people wish to say anything. They're certainly welcome if they would like to, but I'd also like to invite the mayor of Ashland up, because he's going to present the Klines with a proclamation. State Representative Miller couldn't be here. She was called into session, but second best, her husband, the mayor, is here. Okay. Would you guys like to say a few words?
I want to thank everybody for coming,
There you go.
because this has been a dream come true. And
Put the mic up to your face, Mom.
we appreciate everybody that has talked to us and said, hey, how does it look, and terrific things. And, you know, it's quite an honor. And we're very blessed to be able to help show everyone what they did for us, and God bless America.
All right, thank you. Either of you want to share anything?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Well, listen, you have to admit, if you're from Loudonville-Mohicanville country, then you know, or Mohican country, you know that this family truly represents the Redbird spirit, don't they? Let's give them a big hand. It's so fitting that this would be on their barn. And of course, Mr. Kline is reminding all of you, not only does he represent the spirit of Redbird country, but he does a great job of representing the great Buckeye State, doesn't he? Well, I will tell you, it is certainly a beautiful image. Today, as I stand here before you, I actually not only am serving as the mayor of the great city of Ashland, but serve as the co-chair for our county's committee to celebrate America's 250th birthday. You may or may not know it at this point, but over the last several months, we've had a group of distinguished volunteers meeting to put together a whole slate of activities to take place next year on July 4th, 2026. We believe with all our heart that America is still the greatest country on the face of the globe. And here in our county, we're a patriotic people. And so you better believe it. When July 4th, 2026 rolls around, we're going to have one heck of a birthday party here in Ashland County. But as we get ready for this is a great way to kick off our birthday celebration. Visitors from all around the state are going to see this wonderful barn. So thank you for the gift not only to the people of Ashland County in the village of Perrysville, but certainly to our great state of Ohio.
Amen.
So I'm not going to read this proclamation,
Thank you.
but this has been prepared for you by our state representative, Melanie Miller, and it has been signed by the Speaker of the House, Matt Huffman. And basically what it says is you're a wonderful group of people. Thank you so much for being here in Perrysville
Matt, you knew
and for
that.
this wonderful
knew that,
celebration.
Matt.
I have. Let me tell you, these are my friends. You know, it's hard to believe, but you know, you young people, it wasn't long ago. I was 18 years old. Okay, maybe it was longer ago. It was 30 years ago. And when I was 18, I was leading the Pledge of Allegiance at different events, but I was also interested in running for office. And do you know, when I came to this great community of Loudonville and Perrysville, do you know who some of the kindest and maybe feistiest people were there to help me? It was the Klines. And so it is wonderful to stand with you 30 years later and celebrate you for what you've done for our community. So let's give them a big hand. Congratulations. Any final word? You get the last word.
No. Today I'm going to behave.
All right.
She said she's going to behave, so we appreciate that. Thank you, Kline, and extended family, and Mayor, and thank the representative. When you see her, I suspect you may see her tonight, if she's not stuck in Columbus on business. Tomorrow. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful inclusion here. Now, we have a special treat for you, a musical treat. Everybody, exercise your lungs because the Loudonville-Perrysville High School, are you guys marching band or marching band, is going to regale us with America the Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, take her away. hear it for the Loudonville Band. Thank you, guys. Wonderful. Thank you so very much. I mentioned that I'm humbled and pleased to be co-chair of the commission. We have a wonderful full-time staff that are working all across the state to bring so many wonderful programs and activities already ongoing and peaking next year, and you're going to learn more and more about it. We're delighted to be joined today by our executive director, who's going to share some more observations with us, Todd Kleisman. Welcome.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. It is a great treat to be with you here today. We're also joined by my colleague, Chris Hurtubise, who's our communications director of the commission. I wanted to take just a moment to just temporarily embarrass my friend and colleague Steve George, who put a lot of work into this effort. Thank you, Steve, for this great work that you have helped make come to fruition today. Steve is the former executive director of the Ohio Bicentennial Commission. So barn paintings have become a big part of the Steve George legacy. And today is another example of that, because the commission is sort of borrowing on the idea from the Ohio Bicentennial Commission about painting barns to begin with. So you probably know the Ohio Bicentennial Commission did a barn painting in each county. So what we're trying to do here is do a barn painting in each region of Ohio, along with some themes that really resonate with what Ohio has meant to the United States of America. So we've got a barn painted along US Route 250 in Wayne County. We have a barn painting showcasing Ohio agriculture in Sandusky County, Northwest Ohio. We also have a barn painting touting the Northwest Ordinance in Athens County in Southeast Ohio. And we do have a barn in Southwest Ohio touting the Underground Railroad. And so with today's unveiling of the Johnny Appleseed Barn, again done by Scott Hagan, who did all those barns circa 2003, we now have a barn in each region of the state. So we're thrilled with that. We really want to promote art as well as civic and Ohio pride. So we're very proud of this work and all of the art that we're showcasing here, because Ohio has a lot of it to tout. So again, we're thrilled to be here. Doug also mentioned a couple things about the work of the commission. It's really important for us to have activities, things going on in all 88 counties. We're so thrilled that all 88 counties did pass resolutions saying they're going to participate in America 250. And we appreciate so much Mayor Miller. Okay, there we go. Mayor Miller and your contributions. He's been a great asset for us, and his wife too. You know, she's done some things too. So, but we so enjoy working with them and everyone here in the region. So with that, we did receive a commendation from U.S. Senator John Husted, who also wanted to be here. I won't read this to you, but I'll just say very quickly here. As Ohio prepares to mark the 250th anniversary of our nation's founding, projects like this highlight the stories of individuals who have shaped our state's identity. This mural, painted on the side of the Kline Barn, features the legendary Johnny Appleseed, a figure closely tied to Ohio's history. So it's great to be with you. There's things going on all over the state, so be sure to check us out. And with that, I want to introduce to you a good friend and a fellow member of our commission. He served 6 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives, and he was our 68th Governor of Ohio, Ted Strickland, who serves on our commission. So, Governor.
Thank you very much. I understand that Johnny Appleseed was a religious man, so I think it's appropriate for me to begin my remarks by saying, this is a day which the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Look around us. Look at that beautiful hill. Look at those fields. Look at this magnificent barn. Listen to these wonderful young people playing America the Beautiful. We have much for which to be thankful today. And I want to just say thank you to Rich and to Tammy for allowing their barn to be used for this wonderful purpose. Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to these wonderful young people. I've tried to shake hands with each of them and their superintendent. So thank you so much. And so what are my remarks? Well, I've been reading about Johnny Appleseed. You know, a man that has inspired books, songs, poetry, and perhaps a little exaggeration of folklore. I'm told that he seldom wore shoes, that he wore very tattered trousers, that he had a coffee sack slung over his shoulder, and those are the true facts. It's also true that he was born 2 years before America became America. And we are blessed to know that Johnny Appleseed, John Chapman was his real name, born in Massachusetts, died in Indiana. This man loved nature. He loved animals. He was generous in spirit. And he was dedicated to the promotion of apples. Now, I'm also told that Johnny Appleseed's apples weren't particularly good for eating, but they were really good for making cider. Some of it hard, most of it not. And he traveled Pennsylvania and Ohio and Indiana, and I'm even told that he even went into Canada. And he spread apple seeds and apple what's that word?
Sapling.
Saplings. He spread apple saplings by the thousands. And he's a part of Ohio history. He's a part of our history. Now, Ohio, I guess I'm a little prejudiced, but Ohio is a microcosm of the larger country. In Ohio, we have just about everything that you can find in any other part of the nation. We have great cities, wonderful small towns. We have agriculture, which is our largest industry. We have great institutions of learning. We have so much for which to be thankful. And the Bicentennial was the first when I noticed the barns. But when I saw this one, I want to tell you, Tammy and Rich, this is my favorite. It's absolutely stunning. So let's give the author, Tammy tells me that they watched this barn being painted in about 4 days. And it was done with a paintbrush, not a spray. Think of that. And it's a work of art. And we're very proud of it. And this community, this county, should be proud of it as well. So I end my remarks by telling you this. We are a fortunate people. Think of all the billions of people that live on this earth. We find ourselves here in America as American citizens with all the opportunities that gives us. So we salute Johnny Appleseed, but we also salute all those who have followed after him, who have built our bridges and our highways and our buildings and our schools and our hospitals that have made America the great country it is today. Thank you.
Well, Governor, thank you for those historic musings and inspirational words. Governor, that's what you were here for, to remind us of some of the basic tenets of our democracy and for inspirational words, and we thank you for making the special trip up here to be with us today. You had some historic reflections. I mentioned this old hat at the beginning. One of those legends about Johnny Appleseed was that he wore a tin cap or a tin pot. He could cook in it and also wear it. I don't know if that's true or not, but to enlighten us a little bit, we're going to bring up the real historian. Kenny Libben is the curator and director of the Cleo Redd Fisher Museum. Kenny, thanks for the inspiration, for all the background work, and for bringing this to fruition today.
Thank you. So I warned Steve. I'm glad that Todd introduced him. I am not a public speaker, and of course now I have to go after the former governor who read my exhibit and stole all the historical facts I was going to say. So I'll keep mine shorter. But first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming, especially Steve, although he's the one making me stand up here, so we won't thank him too much. But Todd and Doug as well. So yeah, our exhibit up there, instead of me speaking for 10 minutes about the history of Johnny Appleseed, you've already heard some of it. I'll let you read most of that. But Johnny means a lot, not just to Ohio, not just to America, but to Perrysville. So he was born in Massachusetts, moved through Pennsylvania, mostly the Pittsburgh area, and then spent about half his life in north central Ohio, specifically Perrysville. Mansfield gets a lot of credit for him because at the time, Perrysville was Richland County. So all the historical evidence says Richland County, and he did go to Mansfield, we're not taking that from them, but he spent most of his time in and around Perrysville. Specifically, this white house right over here. That was the Rice home. They were some of the first founders of Perrysville, and he stayed with them frequently. His sister, Persis, also lived right up the hill. For the locals around here near the Workman Farm, that's the area she lived in. So he spent a lot of time in this area. He helped Perrysville and north central Ohio become established. So the Northwest Ordinance, which I believe Todd or maybe Doug had mentioned, what that did is allowed settlers to move into Ohio and the rest of Northwest Territory, and they could get 100 acres of land if they proved it. And what proving meant is they had to establish a permanent settlement, and part of the requirements was a minimum of 50 apple trees and 20 peach trees be planted within the first 3 years. So if you think about moving into a forested area, it takes a while to clear land, to build your home, and then grow these fruit trees. And you can't just plant a seed and say you planted it. It has to be a proven tree. So if you've ever tried to grow apple trees, they take at least 3 years to really become a sapling and to be moved. So what Johnny did is he came into the area and kind of opposite of what the Disney cartoons have you believe, he didn't just skip around the forest throwing seeds. He actually owned thousands of acres of land in this area, and he would plant nurseries. And then once those trees were 3 years old, he would sell the saplings to the farmers. If they couldn't afford them, he would also give them to them for free. He really didn't care that much about money, which is part of his greater legacy. But so this area, a lot of the farms we have records, they purchased their trees from Johnny as soon as they came here and cleared land. So he literally helped the families here get settled, get their farms started, prove the land to the federal government so they could receive that acreage. And not only that, not only did he stay here, there's actually a photograph in the exhibit up there. This whole field and the field below the house there were also orchards planted from his trees. So that's why this site was chosen, not only to commemorate north central Ohio, to commemorate Perrysville, but he has a personal connection to this physical ground here that we're on today. So thank you to the America 250 Ohio Commission for choosing this site, to Steve for helping. This actually has been in progress for about 2 years, so I'm sure he's tired of dealing with me, and now he doesn't have to. But thank you for dealing with all of that. And to touch base real quick about the hat situation. Yes, so a lot of people question, why is he not wearing a tin hat in this mural? He did not do that. There's only one account where he actually wore a tin hat, and that was because it was raining, and he placed his Bible on his head, and then the tin pot over his head to protect the Bible from getting wet. Normally, he wore a wide brim hat, like the one pictured there. In his time in Pittsburgh, he actually would have worn a hat like Doug. It was old at that point, but he always wore hand-me-down clothes, and records mention an old military chapeau, probably along that style. And then later on in life, and this is actually from Rosella Rice, who is a nationally known female author. She was kind of like Laura Ingalls Wilder, but she's the one who lived in this White House. She knew him personally. and she wrote that he essentially invented the first baseball cap. He took pasteboard, which was like a cardboard, and created a long brim that he would angle towards the sun. And so that's an image you often see, is him wearing almost like a weird-looking baseball hat. So there's a lot of myths about him, but the truth is, he helped establish the country at the time. And so when the Civil War divided America afterwards, even though we came back together, kind of the whole image, the ethos of America had been shattered. And that's when America turned back to Johnny Appleseed and used him as inspiration to come back together again. And it may seem like at this point our country's divided again, so hopefully reconnecting with our past, especially with the ideals of Johnny, can help bring us all back together and remind everyone, what he stood for was conservation, kindness, generosity, humanitarianism. And so hopefully we can come back together as a country and live up to the ideals that, made us appreciate Johnny to begin with.
Well, thank you, Kenny, very, very much for those historical observations. We sort of are here in ground zero. Of course, Johnny Appleseed was all over the Midwest and left a lasting legacy, but maybe this ground right here is pretty much ground zero of his legacy. The governor mentioned that agriculture remains the #1 industry in Ohio, and apples are sort of the center of it. So to share some wisdom and some updates with us is Valerie Graham. Please join us up front, Valerie, of the Ohio Apple Marketing Program. Valerie, welcome, Valerie.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It certainly is a pleasure to be here. And as mentioned here many times, being in the rolling hills of this country, I mean, it's beautiful up here in the fall season. You couldn't ask for a better day. Pleased to be here. We've heard a lot about Johnny Appleseed, but we're here today to celebrate. We're here to celebrate three main things. Johnny Appleseed and how he kind of built the foundation of some aspects of agriculture. We're here to celebrate the apple industry, which helps to contribute to agriculture, which is the #1 industry here in the state of Ohio. And we are here to celebrate the birthday of America. So we're here, appreciate everybody being here. We've heard a lot of stories about Johnny Appleseed, so that took a lot of my presentation here. But he was an individual that kind of set the stage of what we're seeing today when it comes to the apple industry. He laid the ground, for our forefathers, but we have a lot of apple producers here in the state of Ohio, and I hope that each and every one of you have taken time to stop at your local apple grower, pick up some apples and cider, because this is the best time and when the items are the most delicious. But a lot of things have changed since Johnny Appleseed. One thing he maybe didn't take into account was that of maybe the climate. Those of you that are involved in agriculture in any way know that we had a wet spring, then we had a drought. And so now, are we going to see an apple crop? Yes, we have an apple crop. May not have been the best one, but we had an apple crop. We also look at biodiversity. When Johnny Appleseed was planting his seeds and his apple seedlings, I don't think he was thinking varieties. Many of us think about varieties of apples. There's hundreds of varieties of apples. Not just red delicious, yellow delicious, they're golden delicious. That's my favorite. But the list could go on and on. But every year we're bringing new apples into production because each of you, those that have the gray hair you were mentioning, you like one kind of apple. But these fourth graders, I can pretty well say they may like a different kind of apple. So for that reason, we've got to continue to bring different apples into the marketplace. So those are some of the things that Johnny Appleseed maybe didn't take into consideration. But when you take a bite of a big crisp apple, just remember, it all started years ago with Johnny Appleseed planting that seed here. And whenever I make a presentation, I like to leave you folks with a thought, and this goes for all of you. But I want to challenge each and every one of you to drink, steal, swear, and lie. Now, I knew I'd get your attention, but I want to challenge you to drink from the fountain of happiness and friendship. Swear to do your very best. Lie down every night and thank God for giving you the opportunity to live in this free country. You know what? Happy birthday, America. Thank you, guys. And before you leave, there's apple and cider up there for you, so make sure you get some of that.
Thank you, Valerie. That concludes today's program. I want to say special thanks to the band. A special thanks to the fourth graders, which is the future, you guys. Governor, thank you for being here, and all the other speakers. I agree with Governor Strickland. I think this is my favorite barn of all of them, and there's some pretty darn nice ones out there. Our host, thanks so very much. And ladies and gentlemen, as has been mentioned, there's a wonderful display, historic documents, and apple cider and treats in the barn up there. Thank you very much for coming today. Have a good afternoon.